Good morning and welcome to Presence of Light with charlierivermanbergeron. Once again, it's a joy for me to be here and to share with you the messages that arise for me in my early mornings of every Friday to bring forth to the world. As I have said before, I don't really necessarily go through a lot of preparation to appear and be the messenger. Uh, I wait until I arise in that morning that I'm called to speak, and I ask, what is the message for today? And so, with that said, I'm here with the message of encouragement and trust. And encouragement was the first word that I spoke this morning. So it's a joy to be here. It's a joy to bring these messages through, as they're not just for you, they're messages for me first. And I need to keep this contact with all of those who have been my guides and teachers for so many years now. So, as we begin, welcome to those who show up, and please sign in on the sideboard and let me know you're here. It always interests me to see people arriving and knowing that as you arrive, the field of energy builds. It builds with a heart resonance that's engaging all of us, no matter where we are around the world. And this is critical right now for all of us to feel that sense of belonging, that sense of wholeness, because it's comforting in this very distressful world. So, with all of that said, good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Rebecca. And today's words for me were, as I arose and asked, what do I talk about? The first word was encouragement. And that came after a few moments of silence. And it came through with a deep feeling of love. And I say that because I wasn't really sure when I woke up. I awakened by coming out of a very fragmented dream state. There were many fragments and thoughts and actions that didn't necessarily make a whole picture. They didn't make sense. They were like they popped out of time and place, and many of them were not what I would call pleasant. Not that they were fearful or totally negative, but they were perhaps messages that I received in the past that I ignored. And had I not ignored them then, my life would have been different. And so I didn't know whether to regret them or to accept them. And I chose to accept them as messages from my past self of who I've been in this lifetime and possibly in other lifetimes, to remind me that right now we're going through a gateway that is offering us a completely new look and structure for ourselves that hasn't been available for a long, long time. So I started questioning what was this topic going to be about and what was the encouragement meaning. And the message came through even more powerfully that we all need more encouragement right now. That one thing that is happening around the world is there are groups and people meeting each other and finding each other through social media and other ways that where they're giving each other encouragement, whether they're doing it physically through words or just allowing them to know that they're not alone in their feelings or not alone in their journey through this darkness and suffering that's affecting us all now. Even if we're not focusing on it, it's affecting us. So, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here from North Canada, from Montana. Bless you all. So, in this morning's arising and asking what to bring forth to people, the first word was encouragement, and the second one was trust. As I questioned encouragement, I reached for my Course in Miracles book, or deck. I followed it up with the book, but I have a deck of cards that were given to me years ago, and they're just one saying out of the Course in Miracles. They're sort of daily reminders to remember that we are here and we are more than what we think we are. And it doesn't matter whether you're part of the Christian faith or not, because that's what it was channeled from Jesus. And what it really refers to is that there is a divine creator. And the words that come through from that divine source are usually not so much warnings, but they're messages to engage us into finding that higher divine self within us. So the card was, and I have it here. I don't know if I can get it. There, we can get it so you can read it. Heaven is here. There is nowhere else. Heaven is now. There is no other time. Think about that. I want you to think about that. Heaven is here. There is nowhere else. Heaven is now. There is no other time. And this quote comes from a part of the Course in Miracles that's called the Manual for Teachers. And at one point I was a teacher, or I call it a facilitator. I don't think we teach that as practitioners. We sort of allow the flow of the energy to come through the words and the readings and help others try to wrap their minds around what that meaning might have for them on a personal level. And in the teacher's manual, it's for those who are teaching, who have decided that this is something they want to do. And it speaks about atonement, or as I like to say it, at one-ment, where we become one with that which we call the Creator. it's letting go. Atoning is for me to let go of all the superfluous parts of my beingness and become one within myself and all of creation. It's a place where we're not focused or disturbed anymore by the present moment or our past. Think about that. What would it be like? And many of you may experience this at times, but what is it like when we let go? We let go of all that's happening around us, that we surrender, not so much surrender to give up, but just surrender, focusing on it. We stop and we find a place of stillness, whether it be in nature or in our own homes, if that's possible. You know, our little sacred space in our house where we can find that solace and that separation from the chaos of daily life, where we meditate or have a little altar set up. And that's when we're there and we become totally present there. This is our connection to what we have called heaven. That heaven is here. Well, there you go. Heaven is, I can do this. Heaven is here. There is nowhere else. Heaven is now. There is no other time. I want you to feel that right now. There is no other time. There is nowhere else. There's just here. There's just us in this group. We have gathered here to talk and to listen. I'm more to talk and you more to listen, obviously. To something that is different than the world is telling us. Because the world has got a lot of scattered talking going on now. A lot of talking that doesn't make sense. A lot of talking that's distressful. A lot of talking that is painful and creates suffering and is about suffering and is about pain. That's not heaven. And that's not we, as these beloved souls in human form, came to live, came to exist, came to experience. It is what's happening. But that was not the original creation of all of this, was not to make us suffer. And it's our human beliefs and fears that are the leading cause of not feeling any sort of encouragement right now. Take a deep breath. Just relax. Take a deep breath and know that the encouragement we need isn't so much going to come from outside of us. It's going to come from within us, just as mine this morning was, as I awoke and didn't know what to talk about. And I was encouraged by my guides, my teachers. I was encouraged to say, don't keep thinking that you have got nothing to say, because there's a lot to say right now for all of us, and especially to those we love, those who are closest to us, because they're in a state of mistrust just as much as we are. And that's the second word, is trust. And as you all know, I love these sacred space meditation cards. And look at that beautiful, beautiful constellation of Canis Major. Two spiraling galaxies passing by each other. Just like us. Just like us on the street. Just like us in our own homes. Two beautiful galaxies passing by each other. Can you think of yourself as a galaxy? Can you envision yourself, this physical beingness, as a galaxy? Each organ could be a planet or a gathering around a star or an energy center, all spiraling through us. The two major galaxies would be the mind and the heart. Canis Major, spiraling, not struggling, not trying to see who's more powerful, just spiraling and embracing each other in what I would call a galactic dance of energy. This is what goes on within our own presence. This is that figure 8 right here. This infinity. This infinity that we're going to become more aware of in the month of August. And the message from that trust card is, and I rewrote it to have non-masculine or feminine connotations, because we live in a world where that separation of masculine and feminine no longer serves us. We are equally part. We have a masculine part of our brain and a feminine part of our brain. It's been known forever. So let's end that separation. And what I interpreted the reading was, the hand of God guides me. I trust as God leads me to where God has always been. Where God has always been. God has always been out there, or that which we call God. I know some of you don't particularly like that word. And it also dwells within us. Each is a reflection of each other. However, we've kind of become distorted. We're now an image of a distorted God, or distorted supreme being, creator. Whatever word you want to put to it is, just know that our source didn't change. Our source is still the same. It's we who have become distorted and can no longer align properly with that greater being of who we are. We are actually dwelling in each other. And this is why it's so painful right now. Because even though it's not our pain that we're feeling the collective pain of the whole of humanity. So here on the side, we're saying everything is through divine timing. Yes. When we can come back to others, that is real love. Yes. And what we're experiencing now is a situation of false leadership in the world. And that false leadership is triggering a deep division within the minds of all humans. And what it actually is doing is creating suffocation. We are suffocating. Not suffocating through our breath, but we are suffocating through the density, the oppressive of density of negative thought forms in our minds. I want you to follow that thought. It's now time for us to rise up and out of that suffocation. You may use other words to describe it, but the poetic part of me looks at it as suffocation. And we need to seek more exceptional air. Exceptional air. Not just ordinary air. Air that is exceptional in its purity, in its cleanliness, in its power to shape shift the clouds in different forms, to cover the light and allow the light. This magical air which uplifts us and nourishes our souls. I want everyone to be nourished. I want everybody to be uplifted. I want everybody to know that when our hearts are closed, we have separated. Not physically, as you all know, but energetically. And at that moment, we are weakened and vulnerable. This is no way to represent heaven is love, heaven being here, heaven being now. And I know you all know this. This is nothing you don't know. I'm just here with messages to just remind you. I'm not any great teacher. I'm a messenger. I'm an earth angel. That's my purpose, is to plant seeds. Plant seeds in the minds of all of us, including my own. And so we need to encourage each other to find the places within ourselves that need healing. All of us need healing. They are those ancient wounds of mistrust, abusiveness, emptiness, all of which have become the wounds through which we have been manipulated. And you know when you're being manipulated. We all know when we're being manipulated. And it's time to take that moment of knowing and pause before we react. Know that whatever or whoever out there is manipulating us, they don't have to be visible to us. They don't have to be, they can be, doing this just through their daily lives around us. They manipulate us into bringing up our sense of unworthiness, or our sense of limitedness, or our sense of shame for what we might have done or been in the past. And we need to now take that moment to challenge ourselves and each other to restore peace and happiness and self-worth and to fill that darkness with the fertile soils that will bring forth the abundant joy of the new spring within us. So I'm referred to the season of spring because of this beautiful card here, the Magic Ma Gu, which is from the Kuan Yin Oracle deck. And I won't read her whole thing, but in the end, I will offer a message from her and from that deck. But what it refers to is that as we go through this, we have an abundance of higher source energy who are ready and willing to assist us, because we are a part of them and they are a part of us. In that greater universe, we look out and see. There has never been any separation in that aspect, except here in our local minds, in that splitting of the masculine and feminine in our minds. And when we bring that back together and let go of all the judgmental attitudes that are being triggered, just remember the message. Heaven is here. There is nowhere else. Heaven is now. There is no other time. And ask yourself, can I live that? Can I express that in my daily walk? Can I make that my new karmic path? And I will tell you that the answer to that is yes. And what really happens for us is we once again fall in love with who we truly are. And it becomes the encouragement and the trust that we need. Because the encouragement and the trust that we need is not out there. They can't sell it to you. They can't manufacture it. They can't make you believe in it. They can't manipulate it. It's right here within your hearts. So I want you all to try to keep your hearts open as much as you possibly can. And I know that's going to be tough. It's tough for me. There's a lot of things that want me to close it down. But if you can close it down just a little bit to protect yourself, for you to be the protector of your heart, the guardian of your heart, you can open it again. And eventually you'll get used to this opening and closing and know that you're not as vulnerable as you thought you were. You are not suffering as much as you think you can. And you see a new spring, a spring like the season spring, where everything is renewed and brought forth in abundance. The abundance that we reap through the seasons and put away as reserves for those moments of darkness. And we start living again, once again, back in the cycles in alignment with Mother Earth. And so in closing, I have this Plato's allegory of the cave. Yes, dear. Yes. And the love message of peace on earth as it is in heaven. Yes. And this closing prayer or message is from the Kuan Yin Maiden Magu card. And it's a spring healing prayer of Kuan Yin and Maiden Magu. So just close your eyes, gently breathe in and out, knowing you are safe, you are perfectly loved, you are amazing divine beings in human forms. Beloved Kuan Yin and Spring Goddess Maiden Magu, thank you for your unconditionally loving help now. We ask to be helped in knowing ourselves more fully and allowing that part of us that is seeking expression now to emerge in a consciousness, a conscious, loving, and empowering way. May we know and live all of ourselves, our beloved ones. May our lives be filled with light, energy, warmth, like the springtime after the winter, for the highest good of all. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. May the blessings of all who guide us dwell within your hearts this week, knowing that every day can be the first day of spring for each of us, if we so choose. To find those moments of encouragement and trust that truly emanate from within our hearts. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. We are unity. And I'm hearing the words, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. So never lose your sense of humor. Your guides will talk to you. They will feed you the information you need for your lives personally. Not just because I say so, but because you are connected through your heart to all of them who have always loved you, but were hidden in the darkness. May you all have a good week. May you share your love and compassion with the world, even in small bits. Every little bit of love and compassion, unconditional love and compassion, we can offer into this field, this collective field of the whole of humanity, is worth the effort. Even though we may not see its fruitful outcome, know that just by our contributing, we have made a difference. I love you and bless you, and a joy to see you in the sidelines and read your words, which I always do, and thank you afterwards. Been feeling down, and you're an empath. Yes, I feel down. It's a roller coaster ride we're on. It's up and it's down. It doesn't make logical sense. It doesn't make any sense to the spiritual teachings that we've followed. It doesn't make sense on a lot of levels. And that's why we have to get out of the mindset of trying to make sense of it and come back to our hearts, because that's what it's affecting. That's where the imbalance is up here. It's not here. Yeah, okay. So I think I'm complete, and we'll see you again next Friday. If not, you can find me on Facebook, and I have a blog called Presence of Light, and etc., etc., etc. Just Google Charlie Riverman, and they know more about me than I do. So may you all be blessed. Have a great day. Bye-bye.